All right, let's dive into some Tesla news today. Some really interesting stuff you sent over.
Yeah, really
The
interesting.
potential Model Y refresh, some labor issues over in Sweden, and Tesla taking some interesting steps towards right to repair. Where should we start?
Hmm. Well, I'm really interested in that Model Y Juniper refresh and those leaked images. What's your take on those?
Oh, yeah. Everyone's been poring over every pixel. What stands out to you?
The cameras. I mean, look at the front. Big change in the grille area.
Yeah.
Almost certainly a front bumper camera.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. And, if you compare the Juniper images to the Cybertruck, really similar camera placement.
Okay, so you're thinking this is about more than just looks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is about autonomous driving. Think about it. A camera down on the bumper instead of up on the windshield
Right.
could give autopilot and full self-driving, a much clearer view, especially like in bad weather when the windshield might be obscured.
Yeah, that's a good point. Plus, a bumper camera, less likely to get all that dirt and grime on it.
Exactly. Leading to more consistent data for the self-driving system. Now look at the side of Juniper. You see those updated doors.
Oh, like the new Model 3?
Yeah, exactly like the new Model 3.
Yeah.
And those side mirrors, they're a little different.
Yeah.
But the rear is what's really got people talking.
Yeah, I was going to say, that rear end.
Big departure from that Model 3 design, isn't it? Borrowing some elements from the Cybertruck, like that potential light bar above the taillights.
Right. And some are even speculating that the interior might have some Cybertruck-inspired touches. But with all these sightings, Europe, China, even here in North America, and with Tesla emptying out their Model Y inventory,
Oh yeah, they're definitely trying to clear that inventory out.
it feels like, I don't know, an announcement could be right around the corner.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
All signs point to it. And don't forget, Tesla, they like to tie those product launches to big events.
Hmm.
Chinese New Year is coming up the end of January. Wouldn't that be a strategic move?
Yeah.
Capitalize on that festive period.
Yeah. That definitely generates some buzz, especially since we're talking about refreshing the world's best-selling vehicle here.
Exactly. Any changes to the Model Y, well, it's going to ripple throughout that entire EV market.
Right.
Ford with the Mustang Mach-E, Hyundai with the Ioniq 5. They'll all be watching closely. Speaking of competition,
Yeah.
this labor dispute between Tesla and IF Metal, that Swedish metalworkers union, seems to be heating up. Now it's even affecting Tesla's Supercharger network in Sweden. What do you make of that?
It's a messy situation for sure, and it kind of highlights the difference between labor relations in the U.S. versus Europe, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Tesla's been able to stay non-unionized in the U.S.
Yeah, they've done that very successfully.
But in Sweden, those collective bargaining agreements are just so deeply ingrained.
You're right.
And it seems like even with Tesla offering good compensation to their Swedish employees, they're still reluctant to sign an agreement with IF Metal.
That's right, they are.
And what I find really interesting is that a lot of the employees in Sweden, they're actually pushing back against the union themselves, wearing vests that say, thanks, I'm good in Swedish.
Yeah, tack, jag har det bra, to be precise. And this resistance to unionization, it's not just Sweden, it's a global thing, especially in those tech companies like Tesla, where the work culture is more, flexible, fast-paced.
Right.
They often argue that the traditional unions, they can slow down innovation. They make it harder to adapt to the market.
Right. It makes sense in a way, but in this case, the dispute's starting to have a real impact on Tesla owners in Sweden.
That's true, babe.
They've got 100 supercharger stalls across 6 sites just left unpowered because of these sympathy strikes.
Big deal.
Yeah, especially, during the holidays, everyone's traveling, relying on those superchargers. It's not a good time for this to be happening.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And, Tesla's built their reputation on having reliable superchargers.
They have.
And in Europe, their network runs on that CCS2 standard. So that means it's open to other EV brands, too.
So these disruptions are affecting, everyone, not just Tesla drivers.
Yeah, the whole EV community in Sweden is feeling this. Imagine, having to wait in huge lines just to charge your car on a holiday road trip, or having to use those third-party charging stations that might not be as reliable.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, it's a big headache nobody wants. And this whole thing really highlights how crucial that reliable charging infrastructure is if we want more people to adopt EVs.
Yeah, it's not just about having enough charging stations. It's about making sure they're always available, always working.
Exactly. Now, while we're seeing some roadblocks in Sweden, Tesla is being proactive on a different issue, right to repair. They're selling car parts directly online now. Pretty big shift for a company known for their tight control over their vehicles.
Yeah, this is a big one. So they started with a trial program, right? Offering basic parts like windshield wipers, filters.
That's right, just the basics.
And now, Tesla account holders, they can actually go into the electronic parts catalog, order a whole range of stuff, individual parts, even complete assemblies. Wild.
You can even order parts for a Tesla you don't own. It's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Huh. So it's like they're embracing the DIY repair community,
Kind of, yeah.
but there are some limitations, right?
Of course. Right now, they only ship within the U.S., and the selection isn't as broad as what you'd find at a Tesla service center. Plus, no Cybertruck parts yet.
Oh, right, no Cybertruck.
But still, it's a huge step toward transparency and consumer empowerment, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
Especially when you compare them to companies like Apple, who are still fighting tooth and nail against right to repair. They face legal battles, consumer backlash, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, that's true. It makes you wonder if Tesla's trying to get out ahead of this whole thing.
Maybe they are. I mean, think about it. Anticipating potential laws, consumer demands. Maybe they're just trying to avoid those battles down the road.
Smart move if that's the case.
And, they've already taken steps to make repairs easier.
It's like what?
Service mode. Open access to that electronic parts catalog. They've got detailed maintenance histories, comprehensive service manuals. It's all there.
Okay, yeah, that's true. And speaking of making things easier, you know what blew my mind?
What's that?
That interactive wiring diagram for the Cybertruck.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's like they're actively encouraging owners to tinker with their vehicle.
Yeah, to really understand how they work.
It's a very different approach, that's for sure. Now, on a slightly less positive note,
Yeah.
they just reported their first annual sales decline in a decade, down 1.1% for 2024. That's got to sting a little.
It does. Especially when you look at the overall growth of the EV market, it's booming.
Yeah. Competitors like BYD, GM, Honda, they're all seeing huge increases in EV sales.
It's a reminder that Tesla's not operating in a vacuum. They've got competition, and they need to keep innovating if they want to maintain their market share.
But I wouldn't say it's time to panic just yet. Why not?
Well, consider this. Even with that slight dip in sales, they're still dominating that luxury EV segment.
That's true.
And their brand recognition, their customer loyalty, it's incredibly strong. People love Tesla. They're not just buying a car, they're buying into a vision.
It's true, a vision of the future.
Yeah.
Sustainability, exclusivity, the whole package.
Exactly. People are drawn to that, and it translates into a kind of loyalty you just don't see with other car companies.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about that Supercharger network. Still a major advantage, especially for long-distance driving.
Yeah. Other charging networks are popping up,
They are?
but none of them can match the scale and reliability of Tesla's Supercharger network.
Not yet, anyway. And while we've been focusing on that Juniper refresh, Tesla has other exciting projects in the works.
Oh, like what?
Remember those rumors about a more affordable EV model?
Oh, yeah.
That could be huge. Open up the Tesla experience to a whole new market.
It would. And then there are advancements in AI and autonomous driving.
That's right.
They're really pushing the envelope there, and that could give them a real edge over the competition in the long run.
I think so, too. So, we've talked about the potential positives, but let's flip the coin.
Yeah, let's get real.
What about those potential roadblocks, like that labor dispute in Sweden?
It's easy to brush it off as an isolated incident, but could it have bigger implications for Tesla globally?
I think it's a valid question. Tesla's success, it's partly because they've been able to stay lean, agile, avoid those traditional union structures.
Right.
But as they expand into new markets, especially in Europe, where the laws and the culture around unions are different, they might run into more resistance.
So adapting to those different labor environments is going to be key to their growth.
Precisely. They need to find that balance between their own company culture and operational style and the expectations, the legal frameworks in different countries.
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot, isn't it? Protecting their workforce while staying true to what's made them successful.
Exactly. Now, another big question mark hanging over Tesla's future, competition. The EV market is getting crowded fast.
It is. New players are popping up all the time.
And with those more affordable, more technologically advanced EVs coming out, can Tesla keep up?
Yeah, they can't just coast on their past successes.
They can't. They need to keep innovating, refining their products, and expanding their reach to stay ahead of the pack.
It's a tough market, for sure. But there's one more thing we need to talk about. Elon Musk's prediction about full self-driving.
Oh, right. He recently doubled down on that, didn't he?
He did, saying Tesla's FSD software will be better than human drivers by early 2025. Bold statement.
It is bold. And it's gotten mixed reactions. Some are excited, others are skeptical.
Understandably. I mean, Tesla's FSD has come a long way, but true level 5 autonomy, where the car handles everything, no human input, that's a tall order.
Yeah. And it's not just the technology, it's regulations, public trust.
Yeah.
People need to feel safe, confident, before they'll fully embrace self-driving cars.
Absolutely. The social and ethical implications are huge.
Okay, so it seems like Tesla's at a turning point. Increasing competition, complex labor issues, pushing the boundaries of technology, it's a lot to handle. It is. And it's going to be fascinating to see how they navigate it all. But before we move on to our final thoughts, there's one aspect of Tesla we haven't touched on yet. Their approach to sustainability.
Oh, right. Tesla is often praised for their commitment to sustainable practices. Their EVs, their investments in solar energy, battery storage, the whole thing.
Exactly. And it goes beyond their products. They've woven sustainability into their operations, manufacturing processes, supply chains, the whole shebang.
It's become a core part of their brand, and it's a big draw for consumers who care about those things.
And it makes good business sense, too. Governments are cracking down on emissions. Consumers are demanding greener products. Companies that prioritize sustainability are going to be in a better position in the long run.
So Tesla's sustainability efforts, it's not just good for the planet, it's good for their bottom line.
You got it. It's a win-win. And it just shows how Tesla's trying to do things differently to shape the future of not just the car industry, but our whole relationship with technology and the environment.
I like that. Shaping the future. So, as we get ready for our final thoughts, we've seen that Tesla's story is one of innovation, disruption, and a real commitment to a sustainable future.
They've accomplished amazing things in a short amount of time, but they're facing some serious challenges too. How they adapt to the changing market, how they handle those complex social and political landscapes, and how they maintain their edge. It's all going to determine whether they stay in the lead of the EV revolution.
It's a fascinating story, that's for sure. But let's go back to something you mentioned earlier, that 1.1% sales decline.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting, right? Because the overall EV market, it's exploding.
Yeah, explosive growth.
So Tesla's dip in sales, it doesn't necessarily mean people aren't buying EVs. It probably just means the competition is getting fiercer.
That's exactly it. You've got companies like BYD in China making huge waves, especially in that affordable EV segment.
Right. And then you've got the traditional automakers, GM, Honda, they're all ramping up their EV production.
They're coming in strong. It's classic disruption, isn't it? Tesla, they were the pioneers. They showed the world that EVs could be cool, high-performance, cutting-edge, and now everyone else is trying to catch up.
It's like they paved the way, and now everyone's rushing in to grab a piece of the action.
And that's why Tesla can't afford to slow down.
Yeah.
They need to keep pushing the boundaries, not just with their cars, but with everything. Battery technology, software, autonomous driving, the whole 9 yards.
Speaking of autonomous driving, Elon Musk just doubled down on his prediction that Tesla's full self-driving will be better than human drivers by early 2025. What do you think? Is he being overly optimistic?
Well, it's definitely an ambitious timeline. Tesla's FSD has come a long way, but level 5 autonomy, where the car does everything, no human needed, that's a whole other ballgame.
It's the holy grail of self-driving, isn't it?
It is. And it's not just about the tech. You've got regulations, you've got to get the public on board. People need to trust these systems before they're willing to let go of the wheel completely.
Right, there's a huge trust factor there. Okay, so we've talked about the competitive landscape, the challenges of autonomous driving. But there's one more thing I wanted to touch on. Tesla's commitment to sustainability.
Oh, absolutely. They're often praised for their eco-friendly approach. Everything from their EVs to their investments in solar power and battery storage.
Yeah. And it's not just lip service. They've actually implemented sustainable practices across their operations.
That's right. Manufacturing, supply chains, they're trying to do things the right way. And it's a smart move, both ethically and from a business standpoint.
How so?
Well, governments around the world are pushing for stricter environmental regulations. Consumers are becoming more eco-conscious. Companies that prioritize sustainability are going to have a leg up in the long run.
So it's not just about doing the right thing. It's also about positioning themselves for success in a world that's becoming increasingly focused on sustainability.
Exactly. It's a win-win. And it shows that Tesla's not just thinking about the present, they're thinking about the future. A future where sustainability is not just an option, it's a necessity.
Okay, so as we wrap up part 2 of our deep dive, it seems like Tesla is at a crossroads. They've got a lot going for them, but they're also facing some serious headwinds.
It's a pivotal moment for them. How they navigate these challenges, how they adapt to the changing landscape, it's all going to determine whether they continue to lead the charge in the EV revolution or whether they get left behind.
It's a high-stakes game, that's for sure. But before we jump into our final thoughts, I think it's worth taking a step back and considering the bigger picture. Tesla's not just a car company, They're a symbol of innovation, of disruption, of a future where technology and sustainability go hand in hand.
I think you're right. They've captured the imagination of the public in a way that few other companies have. They've shown us that change is possible, that electric vehicles can be more than just practical. They can be exciting, desirable, even aspirational. And that's a powerful message.
It is. So, as we head into our final segment, let's explore that message a little further. Let's talk about the legacy Tesla's building, the impact they're having on the world, and what it all means for the future of transportation. All right, welcome back for our final thoughts. We've covered a lot of ground today, but it all boils down to one question. Is Tesla still in the driver's seat when it comes to the EV revolution?
Well, it's a tough one. I mean, there are definitely some speed bumps ahead,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't count them out just yet.
Oh, why is that?
Well, for one thing, their brand.
Hmm.
It's powerful. People love Tesla. They're not just buying a car, they're buying into a whole lifestyle.
Yeah, it's that whole early adopter, tech-savvy image.
Exactly. And that kind of loyalty, it's hard to build and even harder to beat.
Right, so brand loyalty is a big plus. What else?
The Supercharger network, it's still the best in the business. No other EV maker can offer that kind of charging convenience, especially for long trips.
Yeah, makes a big difference when you're planning a road trip.
It does. And then you've got Tesla's technology. They're pushing the boundaries with batteries,
Yeah.
AI, self-driving.
They're not afraid to take risks, that's for sure.
And that risk-taking, that innovation, it's what's gotten them this far.
Okay, but we can't ignore the challenges. The labor dispute in Sweden, the growing competition.
Right. Those are real concerns. Can Tesla adapt to different labor markets? Can they stay ahead of the curve when it comes to technology and affordability? Those are questions they need to answer.
So are you optimistic about Tesla's future?
I am cautiously optimistic. They got a lot going for them, but they need to stay agile, keep innovating, and maybe most importantly, listen to their customers.
That's great advice for any company, really. So as we wrap things up, what's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think it's this. The EV revolution is here, and it's not slowing down. Tesla may have been the first to the party, but now everyone's invited.
And that's good news for consumers, right? More choices, better technology, lower prices.
Absolutely. The future of transportation is electric, and it's going to be an exciting ride.
Well said. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive. It's been a blast.
The pleasure was all mine. And to everyone listening, keep those questions coming, keep exploring, and stay curious about the world around you.
And until next time, keep diving deep.